Not Halloween by Brendan Bozeman. Jake and Toby were getting bored. Actually bored, although they never thought they could get bored over summer vacation. "I'm bored," said Toby, "and it makes me scared." Scared? We spend all year looking forward to vacation, thinking about how much fun it will be without school, and here we are sitting on the back porch, bored. I'd rather be bored than at school. True, but still, it means we're at the high point of vacation. You just watch. Stores will start advertising back-to-school sales, even though it's still weeks away. Then it will be on our minds like a monster in your closet that is going to come out as soon as you fall asleep. I don't see why that's a high point. Maybe not a high point, but a turning point. We have to think of something to do, or this vacation is going to slip away, and then we'll be wishing we were back out of school again, as if we were never here. When, right here, right now, we can make something of the day. You sound like my father. Seize the day, he says. There's got to be something we can do about this. They sat and listened to the cars going by out front for a while. They could go to the pool, but they had already done that. They could go to the store, but they didn't feel like that. They could play video games, but they weren't allowed that, or TV either. They weren't on a team and weren't in day camp anymore. "Maybe we should go to overnight camp," said Jake. "You can't just sign up to overnight camp on a whim, Jake. Maybe we should go to the park. Again. We could build a treehouse. Too much planning. Plus, even if we had the materials, our parents wouldn't let us. They'd want to make sure it was safe, and then they'd do it themselves over the next 6 weeks, and school would have already started. Or they'd hire a carpenter, and we'd use it for about 2 days and get bored. Maybe we should see if any other kids are around. They aren't. You had the idea of thinking something, and now you shoot everything down. What do you want to do?" "Well," said Toby. He stared off into the backyard. If he needed real inspiration, he'd just let his mind go blank and allow random thoughts to come together, and then follow through on them, whether they were a good idea or not. That's how they got the idea to build the raft and put it on Jamaica Pond. Too bad that was illegal in about 5 different ways. "Well," he said, "we could go trick-or-treating." "What? God, Toby, try harder than that." "No, really. Has anyone you know ever gone trick-or-treating in July?" "No, which is exactly the point. That's for Halloween." This is where Toby turned on his powers of persuasion. "Jake, we won't go trick-or-treating next year. You know that. Last year was kind of embarrassing, wasn't it? We're going to be in 7th grade. We're too old to go again." Jake did not feel that way, but he didn't want to seem like he was still a little kid, so he said, "Yeah, I see what you mean. I thought we'd just go one last time, and this will be our last time. But it will be fun again because no one will expect it. You can only do that on Halloween. The deal is trick or treat," he said, holding up one palm after another. "It's a threat. They give us candy or we play a trick. It's not, 'Happy Halloween, Mrs. Jones, and don't you look nice today? Won't you please give us a treat because of our cute little costumes that our parents bought us?' This is just getting back to basics. No one will have candy. They'll have something, or it's a trick. This is the real thing. We don't have costumes. We don't need stupid store-bought costumes. We'll make our own, just like in the olden days." Jake was being won over. It would be a break from the routine, and he was curious to see what the reaction would be. "All right, fine." They searched around for whatever they could use. Jake found an old jacket his father no longer used, put on some ripped pants and old sneakers, some of his mother's makeup to make his face look unshaven, fashioned some construction paper into what could pass as a cigar, found a stick and a rag to make a bindle, and voila, he was a hobo. Toby went a little less conventional. He found a white dress of his sister's, combed his hair weirdly, put some Christmas garland on as a belt, then took his violin bow and put tinsel on the end of it. I'm Princess Leia. Toby, that looks nothing like Princess Leia. It just looks weird, like, I don't know. Who cares? It's Halloween. It doesn't even look like a costume. Let me get some lipstick. I'll be embarrassed to walk with you. It was too late. The makeup kit Jake had gotten was still out, and he was already smearing his lips with it. All right, let's go. Jake rolled his eyes. They got bags and armed themselves simply, just rolls of toilet paper. They wanted to be fast, efficient, and to the point. So they set out and hit the first neighbor. Trick or treat. Mr. Ronan recognized them immediately. What's this? It's trick or treat. He laughed. It's not Halloween. Toby leaned forward. We said trick or treat. Did we stutter? Mr. Ronan, not sure if he was amused, went into the house. After a minute, he came back with 2 large Hershey's bars. Not just regular whole candy bars, which would already be a real prize on Halloween, but the big ones that old people eat 1 square at a time. All right, you're free, said Toby coldly. As they walked away, Jake looked at him with apprehension. Toby glanced at him. You have to show confidence. And no, this will not be a thank you day. Threat given, ransom received, end of transaction. They went on to the next house. Mrs. Firth had much the same reaction, but came back with 2 chocolate pudding treats each. The next house gave a bag of semi-sweet chocolate chips. Then they got 2 Cokes. Toby was pleased with the haul so far, but he was a little upset no one could guess what his costume was. The closest guess came from a teen down the street who thought he was Tinker Bell, hardly flattering to Toby's mind. But they were making a good profit, which was the point of Halloween after all. The next street over, they had a middle-aged man come to the door. He simply said, "Ah, hell, get out of here." The boys duly covered his bushes in toilet paper and threw the end of 1 roll over his roof. At another house, there was a teenager who laughed his head off and then raided his parents' cupboard for all the candies, cough drops, and cookies he could find. One house gave a full package of Oreos. They got gum, maple syrup, and Hostess powdered donuts. They denied an attempt to give them sun-kissed raisins and TP'd that house, of course. They vacillated on an offer of beef jerky, but finally accepted. Another house yielded yet another teenager. Don't any of them get summer jobs? Toby complained. Who also couldn't stop laughing, but could only offer a 2-pound bag of sugar. The boys thought that was fair. They began to make specific requests. They would say, "Trick or treat, do you have any chips?" Or, if they couldn't produce that, they would bargain with, "How about some Lunchables?" Or, "We could use some 7-Up." One house even gave them Tostitos and salsa sauce. In general, the neighbors had a good laugh out of it. "How nice to have visitors," said Mrs. Van Dorn. Mr. Van Dorn said he wished he'd thought of it as a kid. Their bags were getting heavy, and Toby said, "This is the best haul I've ever gotten for Halloween. I don't know about you." "Yeah," said Jake. 0 fun-sized bars whatsoever, no competition, outstanding variety. It's fantastic. "And you know what really warms the cockles of my heart?" said Toby. lifting his chin sovereignly and gazing up at the heavens. "It's the extra appreciation we get from these fine folks." They laughed triumphantly and hit a few more houses just to have their bags bursting full. On the last house, they said, "How about peanut butter and fluff?" And they got what they wanted. Finally, they went home having had their best Halloween ever. "We'll always be able to say we went out with a bang," said Toby. They were one street away from their houses when they saw 3 eighth-grade boys coming the other way. "Hey, Fairy Belle and Stink Boy, we saw you trick-or-treating." "What's it to you?" said Toby. "Yeah, what's it to you?" said Jake. "You don't go trick-or-treating in the middle of the summer, you little dorks. You think you're funny or something?" "Back off," said Toby. "No way, pussies. Thanks for getting all this candy for us." With that, the leader of the group shoved Toby to the ground. The other 2 punched Jake in the stomach and took his bag, too. Toby rose up to attack, but the biggest of the 3 punched him right in the face and he went down. So there they were, watching their candy go down the street, humiliated and hurt. But Toby wasn't finished yet. Those kids knew who Toby was, but they may not have known how good a pitcher he was. He picked up a rock from the side of the street, aimed, and pitched it right into the back of the biggest one. Then he threw another one at one of the others and hit him hard in the arm as he turned around. Then both of them charged. They punched the third one first, and he ran away. The others got up to fight, stepping on the candy bags, but Toby was there with a rock in his hand saying, "Try me. This time it'll be to the head." "Dude, calm down," they said, backing off. "Jesus, you throw a hissy fit." They moved away quickly. Toby and Jake picked up their candy as best they could and headed to Toby's. They changed back into their regular clothes and went to the back porch with their booty. Some of it was crunched up, but all in all, it was in fine shape. Toby said, "That fight actually made the whole day better." "Yeah," said Jake. "This will make a good story. We went out adventuring for our food. And we had a battle, and we had to battle enemy warriors. And we did something unusual." They sat back in their chairs, happy as kings. Toby's dad came home from a round of golf and asking where all the food came from. He just said, "Never a boring moment with you. I swear we never know what you 2 are going to get up to. Just as long as there's no trouble." "Trouble?" said Toby, standing up. "Dad, you just gave me an idea." "Toby!" They sat down again. His dad turned to go, but then turned back and said, "You know, what's Tostitos and salsa sauce without a movie?" "Really?" said Toby. "Why not? I think you've earned it."